So I have 2 games with Edric played with the deck list I was using yesterday and 2 with the list I was using today. I have made some changes that are meant to be a test, and I will continue to monitor them and see how it goes. I'm getting a little sick of playing Edric at this point, so I'm strongly considering swapping into a deck that has Edric in it, but going back to Queen. Excuse me. At any rate, this hand does not look like a hand I would have kept, so I mulliganed into this and kept it, and we'll see how it plays out. So turn 2, I guess because I have a counterspell I do nothing. And because I have a brainstorm. So I brainstorm up, putting away Trigon, and I don't know, what was the other card I put away? Couldn't tell. Anyway, and another card. So then I get down with Edric, and I hit my opponent for a card, and immediately play 2 Soul Rings in Earthcraft, and I say go. So I'm going to play the Enamor, and this is the first time I've used Earthcraft, but we'll see how it works for me. Pretty good with Strange Hermit, I hear. So he costs 0 to play there. And I get in for free on top of mana. So another card. Viridian's no longer in the deck, at least at this time. So I'm able to go ahead and just play a Oracle, which locks into a land. However, even if it didn't, I still have a counterspell up because Oracle will untap the island with Earthcraft. So pick up Flooded Grove, and boom, another land off the top. Wonderful. And I am done. So I've got 3 mana ready to go. My opponent plays Clinging Anemones and gives up, which, yeah, it's probably time to give up. So that was the first run with Earthcraft, and it seemed pretty awesome for what this deck tries to do, turning everything into a mana source. Here is a game against Grand Arbiter, Augustin the 4th, and this looks like a keepable hand. I'm going to get turn 1 Zenith. The best time to draw it, one of the best. Turn 2 Arbor Elf Spiketail, I'm guessing, yep. Into turn 3 Arreo. Snap, that's 2. My opponent has a free snap card. Snapback, interesting. Making that the 3rd spell, and if I recast Arreo, that will be the 4th spell of the turn and will not flip Arreo. So I just decided I would rather get mana on the table. And I do. And for his turn, he does nothing. For whatever reason. I'm able to cycle into, and he does that idiotic tap out junk that I hate. Wish they would take F8 out of the game. This is stupid, stupid, stupid. But I take the free win anyway, and hopefully he learns something. I don't understand it. Like, why would you tap 3 lands and then press F8 and tell your opponent you have no instants? When you could press F6 and save yourself 3 clicks of your mouse, plus not telegraph anything, and it's just as fast. It's just dumb. So anyway, game 3. Mini rant over. I guess this guy tried again. And again, I lead off with turn 1 Zenith. Too good. Only this time, doing things a little bit differently. And interestingly there, I didn't actually go for Edric, and it's a good thing I didn't. I counter his Terminus there, and he gives up. So I'm not really sure why I included those games against him, but I guess I just really like Zenith and Arbor being in the deck. I do remember this game was somewhat more interesting. My opponent's playing Melek Izzet Paragon, and I keep this hand here. Or excuse me, I mulligan from that hand there into this one, because the other one was a little slow on the development side, and this is kind of a fast deck usually. Although I did have the Nature's Claim. So we'll see how Squirrel Nest does for me. And I decided I'm going to give him a little bit of time. And he shows me a Tidings, so now I know what I'm going to save Spell Pierce for, most likely. Plays a Palladium Mirror, so I just play Edric to power up Priest and pierce the Tidings. And go ahead and swing it for a card, and then because I drew the map, said that the play is search for Cradle, Cradle a Nest, and say go. And I've got a Muddle and a Remand ready to rock and roll. And if he doesn't do anything, I can tap to put basically a Llanowar Elf into play. I can still Cradle. So he plays a Kirun, which is fine, and a Nivix Guildmage, which is fine because I've got the kill in my hand. And I don't care about anything unless it messes with the game-winning play. Those do not. So end of turn I go ahead and get Squirrel, and then prior to doing anything I play Oracle just in case I'll get lucky here with a hit. And I do. So I play Verdant, sack it, looking for another lucky hit. No dice there. Then I go ahead and search with Muddle, looking for another lucky hit, this time getting Earthcraft. No dice there. But I play Earthcraft, and so even if he would have countered it and I would have countered back, it would have been fine because these creatures all untap the basic land anyway, and I can still go infinite. So I start making infinite guys, hoping that he will give up so I don't have to actually go through it. And then decide that I'm going to stop for now. And I use some of my other creatures to pick up some more mana and regrow the Muddle. So this way I have 2 counter spells in my hand, 2 of a sort, and pass the turn. There's wee Dragonauts. And I don't care about any wee Dragonauts, so I start making infinite guys, and he gives up. So far, I am liking the craft, and because it's a cheap, powerful combo, mostly because I just really like having early disruption, I went ahead and, although in this case I had to take out Viridian Shaman in order to make room for Squirrel Nest, I took out Lotus in order to make room for Earthcraft. I took out, without Lotus, I took out Grim, and I put in and Signet, and I put in Spell Pierce and Memory Lapse. I'm not sure how I feel about Signet. Of all the changes, I think that's the one that I'm most torn on. Viridian Shaman's also very, very good, but I'm okay with losing the Grim. Losing the Lotus is kind of painful too, I suppose, but as you can see, Earthcraft produces tons and tons of mana for a lot less of an investment over the course of just about any game, since it turns all my creatures into hasted Llanowar Elves or hasted blue Llanowar Elves, if it's an island that I'm targeting. And then randomly you can just steal a win. While Squirrel Nest, on the other hand, seems to make a lot of sense in a deck that runs Edric, but also runs Skull Clamp to go with it, various pieces of equipment to go with it. It doesn't work with Winter Orb, but then again it also works with Opposition, Bident. It works with Birthing Pod. You can Nest Pod and start pulling out a bunch of cards. It works with enough cards, and of course Squirrel Clamp, Earthcraft itself. It works with enough cards, and also, I suppose, Garrick or Arbor Elf if you put it on a forest. So I figured, let's try it out, see what I think. And of course, I suppose it works with Cradle as well. There's so many cards that Squirrel Nest work with, and so many cards that Earthcraft work with, that it seems to make sense, at least for now, to put each one in the deck, and then you have the potential to go infinite, while you also have just, modestly good cards as you play. And then Earthcraft, I think, is probably one of the most underrated cards, just because of the fact that, let's say for example you had Earthcraft, and in this hypothetical, all you have is 6 creatures. You have Earthcraft, and you have 6 elves. I mean, you can literally tap this thing for 6 mana on that same turn. You can literally elf tap the elf to undo a land and play your bird, then your druid. You can spin through them. Boom, 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 boom. You can do stuff like, with Earthcraft, you can tap out cast Glenolendra, completely tapped out, and then tap Glen to untap an island to activate Glen. She'll persist back untapped, and then you can tap that island again and activate her again, countering potentially 2 spells. So just the fact that it turns creatures into mana seems pretty awesome, and of course it's really busted with like Drained Hermit. If Wirewood Hivemaster's in play and you cast an elf, you actually start generating mana off of all these things. If I had Cloud of Fairies, that would actually produce mana as well, like even more mana than it usually does. So lots of goodness to be had all around, and that is the justification for the new cards. So quick video, lots of talking, but I hope you enjoyed it anyway, and thank you for watching. See you next time.